Hi, it's Thomas Gronnemark, the throwing coach. Here is my throwing match analysis of the game Stuttgart versus Mainz in the German Bundesliga. First of all, it was a quite good match. Stuttgart won 3-1. And yeah, you can say it was a match with a top team, Stuttgart, against Mainz, a team from the bottom of the league. But let me go straight into the numbers of that game around the throw ins. So, first of all, let's start with Stuttgart, the home team. And Stuttgart, they had some quite amazing numbers. So, let's look at them. So, first of all, they got 100% possession on their throw ins under pressure. And the second thing was that in 66.7% of their throw ins under pressure, they came into a good situation. And when you look at those numbers, you'll think, wow, a fantastic game. And of course, you can't blame Stuttgart for this. But again, I'll come to that later why their numbers was so good. But again, let me take you to a highlight of Stuttgart's throwing game. And I really like the throwing in the 70th minute where they were throwing behind the defense. They weren't quite coming totally free behind the defense, but they still took a fast option. And I really like that. But still, they played a little bit out again, like played a little bit back. And so I think it's really, really a great option that Stuttgart took here. So great fast throwing. But why weren't Stuttgart's numbers as great as they look? Again, nothing against Stuttgart here. They couldn't do anything about it. But if the lowlights of the Stuttgart game was actually Mainz pressure, um, there was a lot of no pressure throw-ins when Stuttgart had a throw-in, and to be precise, it was 12 out of the 15 throw-ins Stuttgart had. It was a no pressure. So 80% of the throw-ins they had, Mainz didn't pressure them. And I think that's really a shame because pressure on throw-ins, that's one of the best way to get the ball from the opponents. And especially when you're playing against a top team. If the top teams typically with really good technical players, if they get the ball down on the ground without any pressure, they can just play with the feet. The ball is not jumping, and so it's much, much harder to take the ball from the opponent. So I think that Mainz like really missed a lot here on Stuttgart's throw-ins, and especially because one of the throw-ins Stuttgart had, it was only 3 throw-ins under pressure. They threw a very unprecise throw in there, and even there, Mainz didn't have their pressure organized at all. So I think this will be a big how can I say learning point for Mainz. They could pressure much better, especially as a team in the lower part of the league. That's actually one of the ways you can beat the big teams or the better teams if you're really good at pressing at throw-ins. But again, I'll soon cover this subject around pressuring, when to pressure, when not to pressure, in one of my upcoming videos. Then we'll come to Mainz's throw-ins, and yeah, first of all, they had a possession on 56.3%, and you can say that that's, I call it in the medium area, like a little bit plus, a little bit minus. That's like medium. That's not good. But we also have to look at how do you get this possession. And yes, I know. Let's say you score a goal after throwing. You really don't care if it was after 17 duels and you were just lucky. But all in all, it's so important to increase your chance of success by throw-ins by doing the right things. So when we look at the next number from Mainz, it's like quite, it's quite bad, not to say really bad. So they put themselves in good situations in 18.8% of the times. So if you have such a low number, you really have to depend on duels, on luck, And yes, again, like I covered in some of my other videos, sometimes you can be more lucky in those duels because you have players who are really strong in these duels. And again, I know there can be different situations in different parts of the pitch. Sometimes, if you are taking a throw in at your own corner flag, it can be really difficult, even though I have many strategies for that. But in those cases, it'll be bigger risk of of ending up in a duel. But I just saw mine so many times throw the ball into small spaces for a duel. I saw them come too close to the thrower, and I also like saw several situations where I was a little bit in doubt of um, do Mainz have a really great throw-in strategy? But again, let me go to the highlights. So what I saw in the 47th minute, and that was in the second half, they found a really great space near Stuttgart's penalty area, and then they had like a third man run, a side pass. So and they got a corner out of that. So I think that was quite fine. But in many of the other situations, I didn't see great space creation. I didn't see any clear tools, and so it was mostly um, duels, bad spaces from Mainz part. So again, I said it once: the low lights. Is there a strategy around throw-ins in Mainz? Um, it doesn't really look like this. At least not a throw-in strategy that the players can understand or it's really clear. And again, I don't know. I haven't coached Mainz, but it looks a little bit like there was not many options, and then we'll try to go at a strongman option up the line. But if that's red, it's that if that's too obvious, it will come into duels, and it's much better to not relying on luck, not relying on duels, but relying on great spaces and good passes and things like that. So again, I think there's a big potential in Mainz throw-ins. And again, with Stuttgart, I don't really know because Mainz didn't really choose to pressure them in this game. But this was my throw-in analysis of the game Stuttgart against Mainz. Again, you can find me on all social media. Remember to subscribe if you see this on YouTube. And no matter where you are, you're always welcome to write a comment uh, to this. But again, do you want to know more about my throwing coaching for professional clubs, my visits there? Do you want to know more about my online courses and so for amateur and youth clubs? You're welcome to go into Throw-In Academy, where I also have a lot of free drills and other throwing related stuff. But this was my throwing analysis. Stuttgart against Mainz. Have a great day. Bye bye.